Imagine a software company firing on all cylinders. By every outward measure, this business is unstoppable, tearing forward with relentless momentum. Look at this chart of new user signups. They're shattering records. If we overlay monthly recurring revenue, it perfectly mirrors those booming sales, until it flatlines, then drops. User acquisition climbs, but the revenue curve bends into the red. The sales reps are closing deals. Marketing spend hasn't dropped $1, yet the overall revenue is dying. The real culprit is an invisible leak, draining the accounts from the inside out. Churn. Acquiring thousands of new customers is just an illusion if a backdoor leak is quietly emptying the vault at the exact same time. Churn rate is the specific percentage of your existing customers who cancel their subscription within a given time frame. A lost sale means missing out on one potential payment. A churned customer means permanently erasing months or years of compounded future revenue from the balance sheet. To see how fast a company is bleeding, we calculate the churn rate. You start by identifying the absolute number of customers who canceled during a specific period, say 1 month. You divide that loss by the total number of customers the company had at the exact start of that same month. Multiply that result by 100, and you get your final churn rate percentage. Tracking this specific formula is the only objective way to diagnose a revenue leak before it becomes fatal. Let's run a timeline simulation for Software X to see exactly how a seemingly low churn rate destroys a company over time. Here is their dashboard at month 1. They have a small base of 100 users, and their churn dial is set at 5%. 5% of 100 users means they lose a negligible 5 users that month, but their sales team easily brings in 50 new users. The 50 new accounts easily swallow the 5 cancellations, driving total users up to 145 and creating rapid revenue growth. Let's fast forward exactly 2 years. The company scales successfully, aggressively compounding their revenue growth month over month. Welcome to month 24. Software X has grown massively to 10,000 users. Their churn rate hasn't changed. It is still locked at 5%. But 5% of 10,000 means the company is now bleeding 500 users every single month. That stellar sales team is still working hard, bringing in 500 new users a month. But now those 500 new accounts perfectly cancel out the 500 lost ones. Net growth falls to 0. As a company scales, the absolute number of churning customers eventually rises to match the acquisition rate. That mathematical ceiling stops revenue growth dead. It is mathematically impossible to outmarket or outsell a high churn rate at scale. Pouring more capital into a business with a structural leak means the water flows out the bottom as fast as you pour it in. To survive long-term, executive focus has to pivot away from blind acquisition. The priority must become fierce customer retention. Look at what happens to this flatlined revenue curve when we drop the churn rate. Reducing churn by even fractions of a percentage point alters the math back in the company's favor. Fixing the leak allows the sales team's hard-won efforts to finally accumulate, generating compound growth instead of just replacing canceled accounts. A secure, finely tuned retention strategy turns every single sale into predictable, long-term capital. In the software ecosystem, the true scale of a business isn't determined by how many customers you catch. It is determined by how many you refuse to lose.